I was born and raised Muslim. All my life I've been learning about Islam, reading the Quran, knowing everything about Islam. I'm confident in my religion.
Yeah.
I don't question myself and compare it to the other religions and stuff. I just know Islam is the way and I'm a Muslim. That's the main reason why we disagree with Christians.
Right.
They believe that Jesus was the Son of God and we believe that Jesus was just like a prophet. I didn't know that the Bible came out before the Quran. Allah accepts every forgiveness. Like anytime you sin and come back to Him, He forgives you. But there's only one sin that He doesn't forgive. That's shirk. What you're saying is, if you commit a sin,
Yeah.
Jesus takes your punishment. In Islam, we believe that if you're fighting for your religion and you die in that process, you're going straight to heaven. That's what the word Islam means. Islam means peace. So we don't like no fighting, no nothing,
Right.
just to be peaceful and stuff.
Yeah.
But the Prophet's time, every time he tried not to fight back, they kept on doing it.
Right.
So he had to believe in Muhammad because he was the last prophet
Okay.
sent. I think the Quran tells you everything that you need to know.
Hey, just had a good conversation with a young man, Muslim. It's pretty obvious that he is quite locked into his belief. Don't know whether that's because just care that he doesn't say anything that would go against his upbringing, what his family might think. But he seemed pretty genuine. He said he studied Quran. He's pretty happy about his religion, not looking left nor right. It also means he probably not able to necessarily defend his beliefs against challenges, such as what I've written in the Bible. He probably doesn't have that knowledge, that awareness. But yeah, my prayer is that as he grows, as he matures, that he would be able to read some of the other texts and consider whether his faith is genuine, not his faith genuine, but meaning whether the place that he puts his trust in Quran and Islam is trustworthy, whether he's doing the right thing. So, yep, thanks for watching. This might be actually my last video here in Charlton for a while. We'll be spending some time abroad over the next couple of months. I will try to continue to do videos from those places if I am successful. You will see me again quite shortly, I would hope. And if not, maybe I'll come back. It might be a bit of a delay, but still, nevertheless, hopefully the ministry, hopefully these discussions, conversations will continue. But thank you very much for your support. I hope to see you again. Thanks, bye. So, simple question to start with. Do you have any faith? Do you have philosophy that you live by or religion that was given to you? Where do you stand?
Yeah, I'm a Muslim. I was born and raised Muslim, and I believe that I'm a Muslim, yeah.
Okay, yeah. And that was always true for you, presumably your parents?
Yeah, since I was young, I've learned a lot of Muslim. All my life I've been learning about Islam, reading the Quran, knowing everything about Islam, yeah.
Yeah, you sounds quite interested then in your religion. You studied it?
Yeah. I've studied it. I've read the whole Quran. I know most of it. I haven't memorized it, but I know most of the Quran.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
understand the meaning. I can read Arabic. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Good. And do you ever sort of get to the point of like questioning certain things in Quran? Yeah. Are they?
I'm confident in my religion.
Yeah.
I don't question myself and compare it to the other religions and stuff. I just know Islam is the way, and I'm a Muslim.
Yeah. And what gives you that confidence? You know, what sort of creates that confidence within you that there's really nothing else out there that is more true?
The way I was taught and everything, I've gone through the Quran and everything, I just feel like Islam is the way and I'm a Muslim.
Right. Okay. All right. How about, I mean, so I come more from a Christian background, yeah? And there's some things that when I read Quran, it says something that's in contradiction with when I read the Bible, right? For example, about Jesus, right? Quran says that Jesus never died actually, but it was only appeared to be like that. It says God has no sons and all that kind of stuff. So if I was to say, look, if I wanted to know about Jesus, right, then why would I go to Quran which tells me one thing, but it was written like 600 years after the Bible, which tells me a completely different thing. But it was written closer to the time when Jesus lived. I mean, how would you answer something like that?
So Christians believe that Jesus was the Son of God,
Yeah,
and we don't believe that. We just believe that Jesus was just a human being, just like everyone else.
yeah,
He wasn't the Son of God. Like God has no sons, He has no wife, no kids, no nothing. He
yeah,
created everyone,
yeah.
and Jesus was just a human being. He was a prophet. That's what he was.
Right.
He was sent by He was sent by God, by Allah, to like tell everyone the way and stuff like that. But he wasn't God and stuff. That's what Christians believe. That's the main reason why we disagree with Christians.
Right.
They believe that Jesus was the Son of God, and we believe that Jesus was just like a prophet.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's what he was. That's the main difference.
Yeah, no, I get it. That's the difference. But how do you sort of reconcile? Other than saying, well, that's what Quran says one thing, Bible says another thing. How do you both cannot be true, right? One is true, the other is false.
Yeah.
How do we know which one is true? How
Yeah.
do we get to a
How
position
how
of
can you say
yeah,
Jesus is the Son of God? They say sometimes the Christians say Jesus is God.
yeah,
How can he be God and how can he be the Son of God at the same time?
yeah?
It
That's a
just
good
doesn't
question.
make sense.
Yeah,
But we Muslims believe that Jesus was just like a prophet, like all the other
yeah.
prophets.
Well, it's because the Bible says that, right? So it's not like
Yeah, the
Christians say,
Bible is
yeah,
just confusing. Sometimes they say he is God, they say Lord, sometimes they say he's the Son of God, and they say he's a prophet. But they believe that he is God. That's the main thing. That's what they believe.
yeah.
Oh, and we don't believe that. We believe that Jesus was just a prophet like all the other prophets who was sent by God to lead everyone to the main way.
Yeah. So there's one part in the Bible, right, where when Jesus was baptized in the River Jordan, there's this voice which was from God, right, and it says, "This is my Son, in whom I'm well pleased. Listen to him." Right. And also there was also one other time where Jesus was transfigured into light, pure light, and likewise there was a voice where sort of said, "This is my Son. Listen to him." Right. So if God is speaking, right, and God's words are being recorded in the Bible, and God says, "This is my Son," why would we say he isn't the Son?
The Quran is the same thing.
Yeah.
Everything that's said in the Quran is what God said. It's the
Hmm.
talking of
Hmm.
Allah. It says Kalamullah. That means that what he said was written on the Quran. And we believe that he wasn't the son of God, Jesus.
Okay. No, I know that's what you believe, but my question is, how do we get to which one is right, which one is wrong? Because Quran was written 600 years later, right? And the Bible is written in the first and second centuries, which is much closer to Jesus' life, right? So if I want to truly know what is the truth about Jesus, do I go to Quran, which is written 600 years later, or do I go to the Bible, which is written by eyewitnesses who interacted with Jesus, right? And the whole scripture is about him, really. Which one would I go to, right? And it cannot be
Where'd you
both
get that
true.
information from that? The Bible was written before the Quran.
What do you mean? Where I get this information from? It's known fact, right? So the manuscripts
I
that
didn't, I didn't know that the Bible came out before the Quran.
oh, of course it is. So the manuscripts that we have, the original manuscripts, right? They were written in Greek, from which the Bible was put together. Uh, the earliest one are dated probably to the second century, and they themselves are kind of copies of something that we do not have in our hands, but they were written, because the scribes, what they did, they just copied. There was no photocopiers, there was no internet, obviously. So the way they distributed these scriptures, they
Yeah.
had to write it down, and so the earliest ones that we have are dated to the second century or so. These are portions of the Bible, the Gospels,
Yeah.
right?
I think that's the same thing with the Quran. That's how it started. The that time ago, it started writing it, then keep keep on going till now.
Right, right. No, I appreciate it. So I think the way, well, correct me if I'm wrong, I mean, you studied more than I did probably, but Quran was handed, or meaning spoken to by the angel Jibril, right, to Muhammad in a cave.
Yeah, that's how it was.
Muhammad sort of recited it then, and
Then
then
every
others,
time he recited it, they
yeah,
used to write it down.
they used to write it down, exactly, right? So that's how it came about. But we know when this happened, right? It didn't happen before Muhammad's existence. Muhammad existed. He was a historical person. He existed, in the I think second part of the 6th century or
Yeah,
something like that.
he came after Jesus.
Yeah, no, exactly. Yeah, so it's many centuries later, right? And then the other thing is that we don't have multiple eyewitnesses of what Muhammad. What is it that Muhammad heard? We just have to trust him, right? We just have to trust that what he heard was from the angel and not from someone else, not from any other being, spiritual or otherwise, right?
Bro,
And
the
so,
angel was sent by God there.
yeah, but how? That's what I'm saying. There's no other eyewitnesses, right? So in the Bible, for example, we have multiple eyewitnesses. So the Bible is not written by one person or recited by one person. It's written by the disciples of Jesus, right? Those who were the 12 that were spending time with him, and some of them took the time to write it independently of one another, right? And so we have multiple viewpoints into specific events. With Muhammad, we just have the recitation of one man. So we have to trust him, right? We have to trust him that he he remembered correctly, that he
It wasn't
sort of recited
wasn't
correctly.
all at once. Every time
Yeah.
he used like recitation used to come to him,
Hmm.
then he used to read it out loud, then his companions used to write down everything.
Okay.
Everything he says. It wasn't all at once.
Okay.
There's 114 chapters in the Quran.
Yeah.
So every time there was one chapter that used to come.
Right.
And
Okay.
he used to read it out loud, he used to write it down so that they don't forget anything.
Yeah.
That's how the Quran was.
No, I appreciate it. So okay, it wasn't all at once, but it was in stages. But it was still one person, right? There's no one else who heard, who got delivered from angel the recitation, that could say, no, actually, I heard the same thing, Muhammad. We agree. We heard the same thing. Let's write it down now. It was Muhammad just speaking it out to say, now I have this revelation and this recitation I'm giving to you. Write it down, right? So everyone is listening to it and just writing down what one man says, right? I mean, in the court of law, right? That's a pretty, like today, if you were to say, okay, how many witnesses do you have for this something that has happened, and you say, well, I just get one person. It's just one person's word that we have to trust. That's a pretty low, sort of weight of
It's not the
evidence.
same thing,
Yeah.
yeah. Like Prophet Muhammad was someone that you can believe. He was the prophet that was sent by God.
Okay.
It's not. He wasn't like just a normal human being. He was the prophet sent by God. There was so many signs and stuff. So it's just believable that what he was saying was not wrong.
Okay. How about just to kind of move on from that point a little bit? So we talk about salvation, right? In terms of, I think we would both agree about the seriousness of sin, right? You would agree with
Yeah,
that,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
You would say, look, sin is serious. Sin is what God hates, and we as human beings are called not to sin, right? We're called not to do certain things that in God's eyes are seen as bad, right?
Yeah.
How do you understand being, a sinful man, which you and I probably both are? How do we earn, or how do we get to God, right? How do we get to heaven? What's your understanding of that?
So in Islam, if you sin and you come back to Allah, who is God, Allah accepts every forgiveness. Like anytime you sin and come back to Him, He forgives you. But there's only one sin that He doesn't forgive. That's shirk. That's when you say someone else is God other than God, or when you believe in something else, like a tree, say that this tree is God, or this camel is God, and you say something else is God, and you come back to Allah, Allah won't accept your forgiveness. But other than that, any sin that you commit, anything else, like drinking, anything that's bad and that's not allowed in Islam, after you come back, you're forgiven.
Yeah. What does it mean to come back, right? What does it mean for that Allah forgives? So let's say I'm a really bad man.
Yeah.
I've killed someone,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Let's say you're a really bad person, you've done something bad.
Yeah.
You just come back to Allah and ask for forgiveness. You pray. You
Right.
pray to Him and you be like, oh, I'm sorry, or I've done this. I'm asking for forgiveness. Just that, and you're forgiven.
Okay. And can I do it again then? Can I kill
Yeah,
again
yeah,
and
yeah.
then
Yeah,
and then come
as
back?
long as you come back to Him,
Right.
you're forgiven.
Right. Isn't that a little
But
bit?
if
Yeah.
if it's from your heart that you're asking
Yeah.
for forgiveness and you're being serious about it, you're forgiven. But if you're just like, yeah, I'm sorry, and you go and do it again, you're not forgiven.
Right. Okay. what is it that about my heart, right, that suddenly will cause me to, um, not do it again? What I'm trying to say, even though let's say I've done a bad thing, I feel really bad about it. I
Yeah,
want to come to God.
if it's coming from your
Yeah,
heart and you really feel bad and you're like, oh, I feel so bad. I killed this guy. I'm really sorry. Please forgive me and stuff like that.
yeah,
That's when you're forgiven.
right, right,
But
okay,
if you're just saying it just to do it again,
yeah,
that your forgiveness is not accepted.
okay. How is that justice, though, right? So if I have taken an idea of justice, right, being fair and blind, I don't know if you sort of subscribe to that idea or not, but justice has to punish the wrongdoer, right? Punish
Yeah,
the wrongdoer. Now, sounds like what you just said is that Allah is merciful, right?
yeah,
He can forgive,
he is the most merciful.
but it doesn't sound like he's a just God. He's not just God of justice, a blind justice, a fair justice. He is merciful, but not a just God. Is he supposed to be just?
Yeah, he is. You are punished if you commit, if you sin and do stuff like that. But if you ask for forgiveness, you're forgiven. That's why he's the most merciful.
But is he the most just?
Yeah, he is.
How is that justice? If I, who, where's the balancing? Where's the balancing of the scales, right? So the justice
No,
is balancing.
this is what I said. If
Yeah,
if you are a changed man,
yeah,
let's say you kill someone,
yeah,
and you come back and ask for forgiveness, and you're changed, and you're not doing that again, that's when you're forgiven.
yeah,
But if you keep on doing it,
yeah.
you're not forgiven,
Right,
because you keep on doing the same sin every now and then.
right, right. You see, we do have an answer in Christianity for that question about justice, right? Because that's why Jesus was, it's very important for him to have died, right? Because anything that I have done, even if I have killed, right, justice is still done because he takes the punishment, right? Someone has to take the punishment. The books have to be balanced, the scales have to be balanced and equalized, right? And that
So
is,
what you're saying is, if you commit a sin,
yeah,
Jesus takes your punishment.
correct, yes. So Jesus takes the punishment on the cross. That's why he said he came to die, because came to take the sins of the world upon himself, right? And then in terms of what changes our heart, it's that the believers who trust in Jesus, they get the Holy Spirit, right? So it's not just my desire to change myself, but actually it's the presence of the Holy Spirit from God that within me causes a change of my heart so that I do not want to do those things again. Not because I try really hard not to do them, but because God has now taken residence in my heart, and my desires and my heart is now changed to my desires are, and my will is His will and His desires, right? And so out of love and out of obedience and out of His presence in my heart, I no longer wish to do those things that put Jesus on the cross, right? So that's how we have the idea of God being perfect love and mercy, but also being perfect justice, because the books are balanced, right? The books are balanced equally because Jesus takes the punishment on the cross. See,
So
that's why it's important that he had to have died, right? If Jesus didn't die, like it says in Quran that Jesus didn't die, that it was just appearing to be, so then the whole idea of Christianity, the whole reason for God being the God of justice just flies out the window, right? It's just no longer true.
so so you don't believe that God forgives people?
I believe that God forgives people, but He does it in a specific way, right? He does it in the way that that forgiveness is not just completely free. That forgiveness has a cost, and the cost is taken up by His Son.
Okay.
Yeah. Have you heard that before? Sorry, I'm just trying to sort
Hmm?
of understand whether you have heard that before
Yeah,
about.
I've had Christians say that.
Yeah,
I've
yeah.
had them say that Jesus takes up their punishments and stuff like that.
Right, right.
But
Yeah.
that's not the case in Islam.
Right. No, I understand. I understand that. Yeah. Okay. Um, there are some things that are in Quran that when I read it, when I hear the debates and other things that um, you know difficult to maybe explain, right, or maybe difficult to understand. You spoke about how Quran is scientific and other stuff. I mean, is that what you believe? And how do you I guess how do you explain some of the difficult things that are in Quran that are written down, right? That I don't know if you follow them or if you believe them yourself.
What do you mean difficult things? I believe everything in the Quran is right.
So, for example, isn't it true that in Quran it says that Muhammad married Aisha when she was very young, right? She was
Yeah,
9 years old, right, or something like that,
yeah.
right, or 6 years old, and then he
It was
consummated the
9.
marriage when she was 9. Now, I don't know if you look at that as a model to follow, right? Do you
We
look
do.
at that's a model to follow,
That's
or do you
that's
see that
that's
it's like a
before the
cultural thing?
that's before the Quran was like was before the recitation of the Quran came,
Right,
which said you can't like you're allowed to marry 4 wives, but the Prophet married 9.
right,
He was allowed to do that
right.
because he was the Prophet.
But now we're not. You're not. You
Yeah,
don't
we're
want
not
to,
allowed.
and that is because why? Why is that?
That's what the Quran says. That's what Allah said.
Well, it doesn't say in Quran. No longer is that the case. You no longer are allowed to have multiple
Yeah,
wives. No.
yeah. It says you're allowed to have 4 wives.
But what I'm talking about now. Now, would
Yeah,
you?
now
Would you?
now you're allowed to have four
Oh,
wives.
now you're allowed to have 4 wives,
Yeah.
right? So you would.
In
You
Islam, you're allowed to have 4 wives.
right,
That's the maximum.
right. Would you ever take 4 wives if you had the opportunity?
Yes.
You would be thrown into jail, right? Because
Really?
it's not allowed, right? You by law in United Kingdom by law, you have to have there's only one marriage, one wife, or one husband, one wife, right? You cannot have multiple wives, that's called polygamy. Polygamy is forbidden by law. If it's some countries might allow
Yeah, I
polygamy.
said that. According to my religion,
Yeah.
I'm allowed to have 4 wives.
Yes, but you'll be arrested for it in UK.
I wouldn't do it here.
Yeah.
I would do it when I go back to my country or something like that.
Okay. How about when it says, um, Muhammad did some pretty, he was, correct me if I'm wrong, right? If I'm misremembering this, but he was also a warrior, right? So he conquered, right? He fought, he killed, right? So do you see, when you think about Muhammad, do you see as someone, a person to emulate, to follow, as like a role model, or is he just a special case, right? You wouldn't do everything necessarily that he
Nah,
did,
nah. He is our role model. He is
right?
the role model for all the Muslims.
Right,
We follow everything that he used to do. That everything that he said. That's what we follow. He's our role model.
right. But that's what I'm saying. So he did some pretty, what we would consider today, some pretty, normal by those standards, but by moral standards, pretty immoral things, right? The fact that he has ordered people to kill, he has basically sinned, right? How would you explain? So because I'm saying comparing him to Jesus, who never sinned, right? Jesus never sinned,
Wait, how did the Prophet sin, Muhammad?
but when he killed someone, right?
Well, that's protecting yourself.
Did he
That-
protect
yeah,
himself, or
that was the
yeah,
what's it called, like war, like
right,
Muslims and non-Muslims fighting.
right,
So you have to fight back.
okay,
In Islam, we believe that if you're fighting for your religion and you die in that process, you're going straight to heaven.
right, okay.
And that's what the Prophet was doing. He was fighting for his religion.
Yeah, Jesus said to turn the other cheek, right? When he was being struck by Romans, right? He says, "Father, forgive them; they do not know what they're doing," right? And he instructed his disciples to, when you're being persecuted, when people come against you, pray for them, pray for your
Yeah,
enemy.
that's the same with Prophet Muhammad. He
Okay.
prays for everyone.
But he didn't. In this case, that's what I'm saying. So he didn't in this case, right? In this case, he fought back. He fought back, right? So did he live out what he was preaching? Is what I'm just, I guess, questioning. Was he
did.
consistent with his preaching, right? So if he did truly preach peace,
Yeah.
why did he engage in those things?
They attacked him,
Right,
and he had to fight back.
right, okay,
That's what everyone does. If
Yeah.
someone fights you or starts attacking you, you have to fight back.
okay. Which I would as well. But I'm a human being, right? I'm fallible, and I'm prone to getting angry, prone to protect myself, right? But what I'm saying is that that's normal, right? He's not any better than everyone else, right? In that respect, right?
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is, when I think about some role models to follow, I'm thinking about people who inspire me, who their life actually becomes such an inspiration, and it's unusual, right? Because it shows me a higher way of living, a higher way of being. And to me, Jesus, right, showed how to live in a higher way by praying for your enemies, by not striking out when he was being struck and all this. That's unusual, right? That's more noble, more more powerful way to live because it leads to long-term peace, right? Because people see it's like, wow, okay, he's not like us, he's not like everyone else. He's achieving his goals through peaceful means, right? And that's a
Yeah,
kind of
that's
an
what the
yeah,
Prophet used to try and do as well. He used to like try and make peace every time,
right,
but the non-Muslims always tried to attack him, fight him back. He used to tell their companions to not fight them back and stop this war
right,
and make peace, but they kept on fighting back.
yeah, yeah,
That's what the word Islam means. Islam means peace. So we don't like no fighting, no nothing,
right,
just to be peaceful and stuff.
yeah,
But the Prophet's time, every time he tried not to fight back, they kept on doing it.
right.
So he had to.
Yeah, okay. And then the other thing is, Jesus was known for his miracles, right? I know that some people say that Muhammad did some miracles as well, like he split the moon.
Yeah,
I don't know what he did, but
yeah,
uh, Jesus clearly did. I don't know what the Quran says Jesus did, right? I think it says that he breathed life into a bird or something like that. But in the Bible, he stilled the sea, right? He rose people from the dead. He healed people. He made blind people see again. He ultimately forgave people's sins, right? And that's only God can do. Only God can forgive sins, and that's what he said he did, right? He forgave people's sins. But comparing the two persons, right? I mean, yeah, I can get the point that maybe Muhammad was a prophet, but do you see that Jesus, when portrayed the way he is more than a man, right? More than just a prophet. He's not a prophet cannot do, or if he is a prophet, then he's certainly a better prophet than Muhammad. Why would you still, I don't understand when faced with a comparison of Jesus and Muhammad. Jesus always comes out the more powerful, the more noble, the more peaceful, the more godly man than Muhammad. Why does Muhammad then still command such
there was
obedience?
in the Quran there's 25 prophets mentioned in the Quran,
Yeah,
and all of them had miracles. Every prophet had his own miracle.
right.
Like everyone had one miracle that was given to them by God. And we believe in Muhammad because he was the last prophet
Okay,
sent to the world. That's why we believe in him. We believe in all the prophets, but Muhammad was the last prophet that we believe in.
got it. Yeah. What about some of the prophets that came after Muhammad? Like for example, in Mormonism, right?
Yeah,
You
yeah,
have
there was more prophets, but we don't know that
right,
because there's only 25 prophets mentioned in the Quran.
right.
That's what we believe. But the 25, that's the ones we know. But there was more prophet, but we only believe in 25.
Okay, but you said that he was the last one.
Yeah, he was the last one. There was no prophet after him.
But there was people who called themselves prophets, right?
Yeah,
After,
there's people calling themselves prophets every time. Till now, there's people that call themselves prophets.
but they're not right. They
They're
don't.
not prophets. Yeah,
Okay. Why are they not right? Just because Quran says so?
yeah,
Or,
yeah. The Quran said in the Quran in everywhere that there's been no prophet after me,
yeah.
and everything. Yeah,
Okay. Okay. So it sounds like, I mean, you basically say whatever Quran says, that's what you believe, and if anything, even if you see something different than Quran, or if you read about something different in Quran, you always say, well, Quran is better, Quran is more right than whatever you might see.
that's what we believe.
Right. Right.
The Quran, everything the Quran says is what we believe and what we follow.
Yeah. No, I get that. I get that. But what I'm saying is, how does that square away with sort of reason, right? There's one thing. So would you say your faith is blind in that regard? You have a blind faith?
You know, there's facts and everything that the Quran is is real.
Sorry, say that again.
There's facts and everything that you know that the Quran is the right thing.
But okay, so I'll give you some examples where I don't think Quran is correct, right? Like for example about Jesus. There's other things that Quran says that I don't know whether you believe it or not. Like for example, there's Muhammad said that the sun sets in a puddle, right? In a puddle, in a pool somewhere, and we know that sun doesn't set in a puddle, right? It sets across the horizon and then rises again on the east, right? So your Quran is not like a medicine or a scientific textbook. Uh, so it has to be read the way it's written, right? And it doesn't give answers to everything, right? You would agree with that, or you wouldn't?
I think the Quran tells you everything that you need to know.
Okay.
All
Everything
the
you need to know for like spiritual life, or everything you need to know, period.
Yeah, that's what like. That's what we believe. Everything that you read from the Quran, that's what you believe.
Right. Okay. Okay. Fair.
I need to go.
You need to go. All right, man.
Yeah.
Thanks very much
Yeah. Sorry.
for your conversation, for your
Yeah.
honesty.
No
I really
problem.
appreciate it.